On today's episode of Fighter Spotlight, we have Jordan Wilson. Jordan is the head striking coach down at UFC Gym, Virginia Beach. He's one of our newest
Sir,
athletes that we have signed. Jordan, thanks for taking the time today. How are you doing this morning?
of course, man. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I wanted to start off just by kind of asking a pretty general question, but I always enjoy getting different answers from people, which is, how did you first get into combat sports and what was your path to, finding your first gym?
Honestly, it was just growing up watching martial arts movies. I watched a lot of Bruce Lee, ton of Bruce Lee. So it was in my senior year, I found a place called Global Martial Arts. So I went in, first day, it was their sparring day. So just seeing them spar and like they're punching each other in the face, having fun, like smiling. So I've never really seen that before. So I was like, I kind of want to get into it. So from there, I just joined and I learned Muay Thai. And that was pretty much it. Like from there, I just fell in love with the sport. I went to my first fight at it was Glory. I forget which Glory it was, but when they came to Virginia Beach,
Mhm.
I went out and saw that, and that's kind of where I got the courage to say like, I think I want to fight too. So from there, I just figured I could start competing. I just kept learning.
And it's funny you said that about, walking in on your first day was sparring day. I think people who are from the outside looking in think that if you walk into a gym and it's sparring day, that these people don't like each other until you
Yeah,
realize that as soon as they're done, that the timer dings and the round's over, they're dapping each other up, they're giving each other hugs, they're smiling, laughing. It's a very strange chemistry that fighters have that are in a gym together, because you do want to get the best of people because you want to improve, but at the same time they are your teammates, you want to help them get better. So how did that lead you to, wanting to ultimately coach? Because now, as you're the head boxing or head striking coach down at UFC Virginia Beach, I think it takes on a little bit of a different mentality when you're a coach and also a fighter.
yeah, it's definitely different. It's more like I don't know. I've always caught on to physical things really quick. So I kind of use that knowledge to be able to share that with everybody else. So I love it. I just love teaching. I love showing everybody else like different things that they can do, working with different styles. I just love everything about it.
And when you were fighting, you're coming up through and you're taking different fights, things like that. Was there a certain point where you said to yourself, I think that I can also be, a valuable resource to my teammates in terms of, helping them and coaching them instead of just, giving a pointer or two after a sparring session?
Yeah. Yep, definitely. So it was like pretty much just showing them like how they can be better, like working around their styles and showing them like you can do this with your style, you can also do this, and just going from there.
And you're primarily teaching, kickboxing, striking down there, and some Muay
Right.
Thai. I saw some videos that you posted on social. So, how did you find UFC Gym? How did you, get in contact with them? And then, second part of the question is, what kind of classes are you teaching to different skill levels? Is it fighters? Is it, people that just want to come in and get in better shape? What's that look like in your classes?
It's pretty much open to anybody. Anybody can come in and learn. So I teach from kids, beginners to advanced and fighters. So we range from all over the place. But I got into the UFC gym. It was after I started training at Global Martial Arts. There was a time where I had to take a year off. I couldn't get to Global anymore, so I had to find a different gym. So I found a UFC gym, and at the time it was Gaddafi Bertho, who was the striking coach. And so he left after a little while to start his own thing. He's got his own gym. So now he's working out in his garage. He's got a lot of great fighters too. So just being under him, I kind of grasped a lot learning through him. So I kind of have like a similar teaching style.
Mhm.
So the second he left, I kind of went up to I went to the fitness director. Was like, I can take over if you need me to. So I just went from there and then started coaching. And it was kind of a process. It's like you start coaching. I started coaching the kids, and from there I just kept learning how to like coach better and better and better. And then I got the adult class. I got the Muay Thai class. So I just started. That's where I really became the striking coach that I am now. Just it's just a process.
And part of that process that I noticed when I started coaching in jiu-jitsu was that there were a lot of things that I did in jiu-jitsu that I didn't realize that I couldn't necessarily articulate to people that didn't know how to do a certain move or a certain transition. So
Yeah.
through that process, I believe that coaching actually makes you a better practitioner of whatever martial art that is, because you really have to think deep about not just what you're doing, but also explaining how to do it, which I think is a different level of thinking than most people have who don't coach.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely true. Like starting out coaching, it may kind of break every single thing down, like every small detail of the strike. And then it makes you a better striker at the same time. So it's perfect. It's just perfect.
Now, and in terms of, you said you have anywhere from kids all the way up through to fighters. So are they in, obviously not kids and fighters, but are your fighters in with just, the general public who wants to come in and take class, or do you have like fighter specific classes and then like a cardio kickboxing class?
We kind of keep our fighters around the class just to kind of show the beginners like this is what you can do if you keep training.
Mhm.
But we do try to keep our we'll do fighter sessions. So we'll have our fighters in the gym and just have a sessions for them, and then we'll have them in the class too.
And then in terms of sparring, I know it's kind of a hot topic as of the last couple years. You have people who, will spar 3, 4 times a week, and they'll spar hard. And then you got guys like a Cowboy Cerrone who said he doesn't spar at all anymore because he knows how to fight. And then you have like your Thai style of sparring, which is a lot of touch and go and a lot of finesse, and they're not necessarily just beating the brakes off each other most of the times that they spar.
Right.
Um, what's your take on sparring and how people should spar in the gym to one, stay in shape, and then should it change when they're in a fight camp?
So pretty much my take on sparring is first thing you want to do is keep it light, keep it technical, work on your defense, work on your offense, and then you can go from hard sparring from there. So we'll go about we'll flow spar maybe 3 times out of the week, and then we got one hard sparring day, and then the rest is it's all technical. Try to keep it as technical as we can. Try and protect your fighters.
And in terms of that technical work, do you like partner tie pads? Do you like more of the Dutch style, like give and return drills, where both people have their gloves and shins on and they're holding for each other with the gloves? Or what's your style of technique that you're using?
We definitely mix it up, but I would say our biggest one is with the pads.
Mhm.
We mix it up with the pad work, flow sparring, and then, like you said, with the gloves on and shin pads on. So we go Dutch, pad work, and flow style.
And with the pad work, do you find that as people become better pad holders, it also makes them better strikers?
I do. You definitely get to see the strikes coming and know what's coming at you better. And just holding the tie pads in like the same style,
Mhm.
you can block that way too. And again, it makes you see strikes better.
And that being able to hold and then see things, I think it definitely aids in your overall defense in striking. And
Right.
that being said, I wanted to just talk about your style a little bit and what kind of fighter you are. So how would you describe your fight style? When you're in the ring.
I would definitely say it's pretty loose. I'm kind of a tricky guy. Like I like to keep my style tricky and use feints, redirections, misdirections, all that stuff, all that kind of stuff. Just I like playing with my opponents.
Mhm.
Just always throwing different strikes and then mixing it up through that.
Yeah, and even going off of that, do you like to almost like set a pattern, right? You'll set a pattern and then break that pattern. That's where the kind of those tricky strikes come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So I'll
and
keep
that's
it basic first, and then I use the basics to throw the technical, the tricky stuff.
and yeah, that's something that a lot of people coming into the gym that I've noticed, they don't always want to work on the basics, right? They don't want to throw 500 jabs in a night or 500 teep kicks in a
Right.
night. But I think it's so valuable to have that, because if you don't do that correctly, then once you start to spin, your opponent knows the spin is coming because your jab has never actually touched them.
Exactly. You always got to start with the basics.
And, I know that you're coaching now and you talked about fighting in the past. We just turned over to a new year. 2020 was interesting for everyone, gym shutting down, not a whole lot of fights going on.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
what are you most looking forward to in 2021? Is it coaching athletes in the ring of the cage? Is it getting back in there yourself? What do you have on the horizon?
Really, it's all of it. Like I'm working on online website. Hopefully that comes up soon so I can get out there and kind of share my knowledge more. And then we're looking to get some fights soon, but you know how that goes. We had fights lined up all last year and everything is just getting pushed around and canceled. A lot of cancellations been going on. So honestly, it's like we just got to keep training. We're just going to keep training the whole year. Whatever comes up, we'll be ready.
Yeah, and that's the mentality. A lot of people that I talk to, they're pretty much saying, I'm not even going in and out of camp anymore. I'm just staying in shape 24/7. So if somebody
Exactly.
calls and says, "Are you ready in 2 weeks?" Then yes, I'm ready. Weight's low, cardio's clean, and they're ready to go.
Yep. It's cool. You see it all over social media. Like everybody's been working really hard.
Mhm.
Everybody's been staying in shape. It's cool to see.
Yeah, I feel like it was almost like a new trend in 2020 of everybody staying in shape instead of having to get in shape for fights, even if they didn't
Right.
fight, right? People were just like waiting to see if anything would happen. And if it didn't, then they were still in phenomenal shape all year long.
Yeah. It's like we used to take that for granted. And now it's like you have to train all the time. Like if you're gonna have a fight coming up, it doesn't even matter if you have a fight coming up. Like just stay in shape. Like there's no off seasons with this. You just gotta keep training.
Yeah, and I hope that you guys are able to keep training down there, and that you guys all stay healthy and get some fights coming up in the new year. Before I let you go, just wanted to kick it over to you. Any kind of shout outs that you have for anybody that's been supporting you along the way. I know there's always people that help out. Wanted to give you a chance to mention them.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Trampo Muay Thai, my team. We've been killing it this year, last year, everything. You guys have been keeping me motivated. So I love it. Love the team like a family.
Awesome, Jordan. I
Oh,
appreciate your
and the UFC gym. Of course, UFC gym. Shout out to you guys too.
Absolutely. Jordan, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it. Good luck in the new year, 2021. Looking forward to see you coaching and fighting coming here soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Talk to you soon.
See ya.